Oh,
Oh,
we're
we
live?
are live. Oh my God. We were just all sitting here quiet.
How long
No,
have
I
we
just
been
started.
live?
No, I just started
Oh,
as you
oh,
said
you said
that.
that as okay. I thought you were saying like, yeah, we've been live. Just I didn't want to.
Like we just been sitting here in silence and just
Yeah, like I
like
was waiting because I assumed so it says that we went live, which I mean you did, but the way you said that made it sound like we had been live. Or
well,
we were
because you
just
just
sitting here
asked and then
quietly.
you just asked and he said it like he was responding to you, not like he was just going live. So it's like it came across as like, are we live yet? And it's like, yeah, we're live. Yo, oh yeah, we're live. And it's like we've been live, and it's like, oh
Like
fuck.
I almost had a heart attack. I was like, holy shit, this is some of the deadest air I've ever heard in my life.
All right. So yeah, how is everybody doing on this week's weekly Weeb Club? Ooh.
I've been doing pretty okay. Did you see like the PewDiePie drawing thing that he's been doing?
I didn't see the video, but I saw
Yeah, people posting about it
people.
at the very
Yes,
least. Yeah, I
exactly.
started doing that because of that, so
Ooh,
I'm drawing every day. It's going pretty well.
fuck yes, awesome.
Um, yeah, it's been fun. It's kind of actually relaxing, and like I've consistently drawn more than what the like minimum that I have to draw for the day. Just because
Nice.
like I feel like it, so it's cool.
I guess to share, because like what I've been trying to do is because I realized I want to write more of my Hunter x Hunter fanfic, so I've been trying to set aside more time for that. Because I had a quota of like 100 words a day, but not only was I not doing it every day, but I also wasn't like I'd hit 100 or 200 words and then just stop. So I want to at least try and like write as much as I like can. And so the good thing is that I have on the times that I've gotten around to writing, I have written more. Like I think the first day I did it, I did like 1,000 words. Um, and then yesterday to do like 700 words, but there's like been like streaks of like 4 days of not just getting around to writing anything. So
Is that
yeah,
just
but I
because you're
mean,
like tired from work and stuff?
or just like yeah, lacking mental energy, or just like doing other things and not somehow not having the time to get around to writing, um, which is because the day before yesterday, like because like how I try to schedule myself because I don't have 40 hours of work right now is basically I set aside make sure to set aside like 8 hours of time every day to work in some capacity. So if I'm not working my job, I'm working in on like YouTube or video stuff. And so like so then basically I have free time outside of that to like do other things, and mostly like a big part of that being the writing. But like
Mm-hmm.
that's also when I do like some of my dailies, like my hour of Majin Tensei right now, or Animal Crossing, and stuff. So for some reason I just haven't had, even though I'm specifically setting aside time to do other stuff. But like the other day I played video games with my friends for like 3 hours. So um, kind of hard to work up the mental energy after doing that to write. So I didn't write that day, right? So so it's I want to like set some like mini goals for myself, like have a streak of like a week where I write every day, because if
Yeah.
I think get in the habit of that, then I can get in the habit, even if it is just 100 words, which was like my bare minimum. Like the fact that I'm not limiting myself to 100 words, or like because that was supposed to be a quota, but it ended up becoming not like a limit because I just like write that much and then I'm done. So yeah, I just want to so your daily thing is going better than my daily thing is what I wanted to share, I guess. Um,
I see. Um, yeah, I mean, what's fun about it is like it feels gamified enough to where it's like it doesn't feel like this chore that I have to do. Like it just like actually feels like a challenge that feels fun to do.
mhm.
Um, and like it helps that like there's like three things that I've drawn that I think look pretty good. Um,
Ooh.
and one of them like I look at and it's like I'm kind of like starting to be like, oh, this is surprisingly kind of good. Like I didn't think it would come out as good as it did.
Mhm. I forget if you mentioned, but like, are you just drawing just because you want to learn how to draw, or do you have anything specific in mind that you're interested in, like trying out with that skill once you have it?
I don't know what I would do with it once I of it. Because, like, it's just one of those things where it's like, I've always wanted to be able to draw since I was a kid. So,
Gotcha.
Were you not someone who could draw as a kid? I feel like you give vibes of someone who like could draw when you were younger and then stopped doing it, but maybe I'm wrong.
I wouldn't say I could draw as a kid. Like, I drew better as a kid, and I drew, like, a little bit more, but I don't really think I was, like, ever, like, good at drawing.
Okay.
Like, it's one of those things where it's like, there are some things that I've drawn that are good when I was younger, but it's just like, I wasn't consistently drawing good things. Yeah. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Other than that, I feel like I've been, like, getting back into, like, writing stuff, too. So, like, especially, like, after I finish my classes, there's usually just, like, 2 free hours that I have that I just, like, will either do some assignments or, like, just write something. I usually don't draw at school, though. I could do that, but I prefer to do it in the morning if I can. Just because, like, it feels nice to do it, like, as soon as I wake up or close to it.
Okay. Gotcha. Well, yeah, I don't know, that just made me think about how, like, because I have been trying to do, like, I know exercise is putting it a bit strongly, but, you know, just doing some level of, like, push-ups and stuff, but I struggle to do those, like, right when I wake up, because, I don't know, I feel like shit when I wake up, and I'll just do something physical right away. It's really hard for me to do that, so I've been trying to be at least a bit better about doing it in the middle of the, like, before I eat lunch, because the problem is, like, you know, I wake up and then it's like, well, I gotta eat breakfast, and I don't want to, you can't exercise right after you eat. But then, like, I get into the rest of my day, and it's like, well, I don't want to really do anything. You know, I'll just stop and exercise. It's like, you know.
What kind of exercise is it, if you don't mind me asking?
It's just a few push-ups, like routine. There's sets of just push-ups and planks and a couple other things.
Oh yeah. After breakfast, that sucks.
Yeah. Well, the other problem is I was doing it on Sunday because I also have a treadmill that was left behind by the person who previously owns the apartment. So I was using that as a way to get some like basically the idea was to have a half an hour of exercise, and then so I do sets of the routine, you know, the exercises that I was doing, and then I fill out the rest of the time with the treadmill. But I guess early on a Saturday morning is not good for my neighbors because they banged on the wall, and that really just kind of like I didn't, you know, I just really didn't want to do that in the like after the treadmill in the morning. After that, I figured it would be fine in the middle of the day, but you know, I just kind of felt awkward about that. Bothering my neighbors. So that's also another reason I'm not exercising as much in the morning, but I have been better. I didn't do it today. I did take a walk though around the neighborhood, because I also do that sometimes just to get sunlight because I spend a lot of time indoors. So like going outside because I have like a if I just walk down the street to the end and then back, it's like 15 minutes roughly. And so just, you know, with if it's sunny out, then I get some sunlight on my body, and that's good. So yeah.
Cool. I have also been getting back to doing like more consistent exercise. At least so far, I've done it every day for this week because I fell off of doing it. Yeah. I'm hoping to have like a better, more consistent routine of stuff because it does just make me feel a little bit better.
But yeah, I guess another thing I've been working on is to share a video idea again, just to bounce it off of another human being. Because so the Karakuri Circus manga was finally fully translated recently. Like the last chapters came out this year, and I put it on my media thread because I finally finished it after when did I start it roughly? In like oh yeah, I don't remember when I fucking started it. It was ages ago. But because I was thinking about, because a while ago I did a video on Chaos, the anime adaptation for Chaos Child, where I was basically making the argument about how, like, well, it's not confirmed if we'll get the visual novel for Chaos Child. So I'll talk about this and be like, hey, maybe this anime is still worth watching, and, you know, even if it does come out, I still think my time with it was valuable. So I guess I'm doing a kind of, like, revisiting that topic in the sense through Karakuri Circus, because I guess, like, it does sort of come to the question with the Chaos Child anime where it's like, well, why would you recommend either of these anime when the source material is just like way more complete and overall like stronger? And I guess like just thinking about like the idea of like ideal versions of things, because I think another reason it's on my mind is because of Persona 3 Reload, where obviously a lot of people are really into it. Most of the changes people are into. I know like the music is one of the ones that people don't care for as much. Right, and obviously Persona 3 is also controversial because of the way that like how the party works, as I understand it, where you're not able to like directly control your party members in most versions of Persona 3. Right, so it's just like
the first two versions.
Oh, so even portable also, or
portable,
go ahead and explain.
So the way that Persona 3 the re-releases work, you couldn't control them in the original game, but you do have like more detail than any other game in the franchise gives you, like tactics you can use to control your party members on like the main character's turn. But even still, you don't have direct control. You can never say you are for sure doing this on your turn. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It is always up to the AI. That's in the base Persona 3, and that's in FES, and that's intentional, right? There were SMT games that had given you control of party members. They did that in Persona 1 and 2, right? Like that was intentional.
No, in my experience, having played 10 games in the franchise, actually 11, every single one of them you're able to control every party member. So it's not like it's a dated thing. It was a deliberate choice. Yes.
And I understand that what they're going for with it, but at the end of the day, I think most people didn't find it fun. They did not enjoy not controlling their party members. So even though 4 kind of had a lot of similar ideas, and also probably could have had the tactics the same way, they added back in direct control. But so the only ones that don't give you direct control are Persona 3 and FES. Portable has it.
Oh,
but Portable's a visual novel. So Portable doesn't give you like you run around like the city. You're not running around like
I've seen gameplay of the dungeon in Reload. So
and so you're not running around like so you still do JRPG battles, but it's like I think Tartarus you might explore, but like when you're running around doing the life sim stuff, you're not actually running around like the school and the station and the mall the same way you do in 3 and FES and Reload. And I think that for a lot of people, including myself, that's a large part of Persona, right? Like actually running around and being like a person in the world and being able to like see like the world and be like a physical like part in it, I think is part of that. And so I think that's like the issue with Reload that people have is just like it's mostly a visual novel, but gives you party members control and then also has FMC.
Yeah, but because I was just thinking about because like even not even just Persona 3, but like I'm just thinking ahead to some of the other games of the franchise. Like Persona 1 is interesting because it's like the people like the PlayStation version for the atmosphere, but the English release is fucked up. And the PSP version changes a lot of the atmosphere and the UI and the music. So there are some mods to fix some of it, but there's some people who still like, the ideal would be a better translation of the PlayStation and version of the PlayStation 1 version. So it's like, do I wait for that patch to be finished so I can play the PlayStation 1 version, or do I play the PSP version for the first Persona game and get like a potentially worse version? But I can actually fucking play it in a timely manner and not have to just lock my for Persona 3 it's kind of where I'm at with that one is like I'm interested in Reload for sure, but I'm actually right now I think I'm more interested in FES because like the fact that it is unique gameplay wise just by not allowing you to control your party members, not just even if only in just the SMT franchise, but also potentially like as a JRPG, like I feel like that's not very common of a design choice, and that interests me even if I know it's not a very well liked choice. Right? What were you gonna say? Sorry, because I had something else to add. But
so I was just gonna say when it comes to Atlas specifically, they kind of have a track record and history of generally, and so I haven't gotten. I'll talk more about Persona 3 Reload in a little bit.
I bet.
I have like 40 hours in the game. But I dropped the original Persona 3, so I can't talk too much to later stuff. But a lot of Atlas re-releases will change the ending or add extra characters and completely change the game. I don't know if Reload's going to do that. There are extra scenes. I haven't seen anything that's felt out of place. I know what a lot of the extra content is because it like a lot of it is like an extra like type of content. Like it's like you can hang out with people in the party in the dorm. in like a way that didn't exist before. So I know what the extra content is, and it doesn't feel out of place for sure. But I don't know, full scale. I also don't know what like in the story would be new or different. So I can't comment on that, like even as I get towards the end. But I will say, for the most part, especially because I know you're playing through the SMT games, as you start getting further, like I know Strange Journey is one. Persona 4 Golden also is one, but I think if you think that the Golden exclusive content is controversial, you're a cringe baby, you need to grow up. But I know Strange Journey has like really controversial content in like its Redux version. So
which one was that? Sorry, I was
Strange Journey.
Oh, Strange. Right, because I did note down that they had a remade version, but I did not look into like how it's received.
Yeah, so I know it has Redux, and I think it has quality of life improvements, but I think that there's like extra material added to the end or extra content or something that I know is like controversial in the SMT fan base. So that's like something just to keep in mind with Atlas re-releases, is that I know a lot of times like genuinely fans, I've heard them consider re-releases most cases like separate games. Like they consider like you play Persona 4 and you play Persona 4 Golden, or you play Persona 3 and then you play FES and then you play Portable. Like they're all different games that should be looked at like kind of separately, as opposed to I think there's less so for 3 and FES, because I think FES mostly just has added quality of life, and then like Answer's added content is like an entire mode after the game, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not like entirely positive on 3, but I think most of 3's added content is there's like an extra game mode that's an epilogue, and then there's like quality of life changes. Versus like Golden just adds an entire new character that is sprinkled in throughout and that matters a lot at the end. Same with Royal. So
yes, I'm aware of the. I especially remember when Royal was first announced, and people that they talked about here's the new character, and people were like reacting negatively because she's like a gymnast and wears a leotard, and then she's showing too much skin, and people are mad about that. And it's like, but that's what they actually wear. Like, just I don't know. Because it's like I just was thinking about using just like the Karakuri Circus manga ending, even as I mean, obviously the best one would be Persona 3, but it's hard to talk about considering I haven't played either version, and I won't for some time. But I just want to talk about the idea of like different versions of things, basically, not just in adaptations, but like because there is a level of like one of the reasons I was thinking about Persona 3 FES is because like this is the game that people were in love with for 18 years, right? Where that changed the entire trajectory of the franchise. Even though like Persona 3 Reload is appeal, it's going to be it's also going to be more polished, but sometimes the warts become part of like the fandom and the discourse. Like there was a scene, I guess I only saw YouTube. I only saw the title, but I didn't. It takes place on a beach, and it was called like the transphobia scene. Apparently, that's not in the Reload.
Yeah, they rewrote it.
Yeah, and then there's also the like the combat system. But like so there's these aspects that are that have been in the game for years, and now they're not in the game anymore. Right, like a comparable version I was thinking was the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Duong translation, where it's like people know about it, right? Like it's even though nowadays it doesn't. It's I was gonna say apocryphal, but I guess it's like it's you don't need at a time the only way to experience parts 4 through 6 was through really bad translation, and you don't need to do that anymore. But then there was also my issue with the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure colored manga, where they did keep some of the meme lines, even though the rest of the translation is perfectly fine. So it's like, I don't know. I don't even know what my main point will be. I just already have like a part talking about the Karakuri Circus anime because there's some good aspects to it, and even if ultimately like it's a very truncated version of the story. But I don't know. I just wanted to like bring some of these ideas up and see if you guys had any things to add. But what's
that? I would say I think one thing that could be interesting to look at for research for that, I think is like a very good example of like something that you just don't really get anymore, like where something kind of overshadowed it, is actually Resident Evil 1. I think the Resident Evil 1, like the GameCube remake, because it looks better, keeps the tank controls, is still a little silly, and then came out so close, actually, like in time to when Resident Evil came out. People just don't talk about the PS1 game anymore. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Sell the PS1 game anymore. you don't really see people talk about the PS1 game unless like they're specifically talking about it like in the context of the PS1. Like pretty much the GameCube version of Resident Evil 1 is like
the definitive version, basically.
Completely, overshadowed and killed the.
Did Resident Evil get a remake? Like, cause I so there was no mod, because I know there's I mean of the modern remakes, like because there was the Resident Evil 2 and 4, and I think 3 came out in there, but I didn't hear as much about it.
That's exactly what I what I mean when I say it came out soon enough. So the GameCube version of Resident Evil 1 came out on the GameCube. So it was, not even 10 years after.
Yeah, it was just the next console generation, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't.
So it comes out and it looks like instantly. They just still released that GameCube version today because it looks good enough. But then they never remade the other one, so then they remade them now. But because they remade them so much later and it's completely different, like gameplay style and everything, people talk about both games. But like nobody talks about PS1 Resident Evil 1 anymore because like it's just the GameCube one at this point.
Mm-hmm. Right. Okay. No, that would definitely be something to consider. Because
the reason I say that you can look into those is those are both it's a game and then the remake of the first game in a series, so you don't have to play anything prior to talk about it.
Yes, that's fair. That's fair.
That was like intentionally why I gave you those. I was like, you don't have to do anything else to research them.
I mean, because like I could just play Persona 3, but I'm at this point. It's like I've already played 10.9 games in the franchise, so it's like I might as well just keep going with what I'm doing, right?
Right.
Because yeah. So okay, I got you. No, I'll keep that in mind for sure. That's helpful. But yeah, because I don't know where it's gonna. Because I think overall I just want it. Because I even saw a tweet talking about how there's still even if because I think a big part of that's the other reason I was thinking about it was because Monogatari is getting sequel seasons this year, and watch orders were getting thrown around, and I think the way people get heated in discussions about those, I think just people really care about their experience with a piece of media, and they want other people to have that experience, or they want to talk to other people who have that experience so they can connect with them, and the idea of their experience being wrong doesn't rub well with them, right? Like with the Monogatari, people are like, oh, fine, it should be fine to do that now, but it's like, well, there's things lost by doing that, because I think it's silly to watch Nekomonogatari Kuro before Kizumonogatari, but there was no other choice until those movies came out, right? So and just stuff like that. So there, and then when you're getting someone into something, of course you want to recommend the best version, and I'm saying, when I get something, there's a part of me that's interested in having the best experience possible my first time in, right? Otherwise I literally just spent a part of my morning modding Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne, even though I'm not going to play it for a few months, but I was just because I have the HD version on Steam and people have some problems with it, so I was just like, oh hey, there are some mods to make it look a little better, make the music uncompressed, and yeah. I'm just keeping mind of that. So it's so I understand it, but I just feel like the flip side of that is that people are maybe too harsh when it comes to an experience that isn't the best, right? And especially for me, where I say it a lot, someone who does anime YouTube, I want to have an informed position, right? So I did watch Karakuri Circus, but I also read the manga. But then there's also, I guess, the thought of just I guess erasure in or kind of what you're getting at with the Resident Evil, but I guess imagine if there are people who really like the PS1 one and don't like the idea of it being lost and forgotten, or just I think that also happens kind of with superhero films, right? Where it's because they're adapting stories from comics, but people who watch superhero movies don't go and read comics, and they never have. So it's so people are mad about the movies like not Ultron not being represented probably in the MCU because he's derived from Tony Stark instead of Hank Pym. So he's not the character they like from the comics. Even though I'd argue, I think he works well for what the MCU is doing. And same for the changes they made to Spider-Man with him being connected to Iron Man instead of having Ben, Uncle Ben, right? But it's that's a different example because obviously Spider-Man fucking survives the MCU. He's fucking Spider-Man. But just the idea of people having these characters that they care about being represented in movies that don't necessarily represent their core appeal to of what they like from the comics, and then people aren't going to read the comics, right? Because I've barely read any comics, and so I'm part of that problem. So I don't know. It's just a big topic.
Yeah, it's
I feel like could be
interesting
all over the place. But
because
yeah.
there's just so many examples. Like when you were talking about it, like I thought of other examples, even just like the recent like and it's small examples which I don't really think would be worth talking about for the type of video you're making, but like
I mean,
when
I might
Sailor
yeah.
Moon was like color corrected and people discovered like, oh, it's not supposed to look pink tinted, but some people were actually upset about that because they thought that aesthetic
They
actually
liked it.
suits the
Yes.
show more in their eyes. So they didn't really like, some people just straight up didn't want that other color corrected thing to like come out and be finished, because then it would like replace the memories of the show that they had, especially if it's like the more distributed version at some point.
Yes.
Instead of like the pink one. And then also like, you know, Dragon Ball has been color corrected more recently, which like I think most people were happy and like receptive toward that, because like people thought it was really cool that like, I'm pretty sure it's like a French company that was like actually like really going in and color correcting the original Dragon Ball, and like it does just like that one, like at least with the Sailor Moon one I can kind of see like the appeal and stuff, but with the Dragon Ball one, that shit just looks better. Like you're kind of crazy if you don't think it looks better.
Yes.
I was also thinking about like how like anal like Sonic fans are about like the better versions of like the adventure games specifically, especially Adventure 1 with like DX being such like a like it has that like thing of like where it did replace the Dreamcast version for quite a bit, because like who has a Dreamcast, and then also like the GameCube was a more popular system and that's where most people played adventure, so DX is what people think of, and it was also like ported to everything, but like it actually like, even aside from like Dreamcast version visually looking nicer, like the water looks nicer, a lot of things look nicer, the sounds in the game were just like messed up in the conversion to GameCube because they don't have the same like sound technology. Like I know somebody was talking about like Adventure 2, the reason why like the Tails and Eggman stages are so fucking loud is because like the GameCube doesn't have that same like sound compressing like technology. Like there's something about like the sounds that they had on the Dreamcast, like audio wise, that helped the audio, but they just didn't like address that when they ported it to GameCube, which was interesting because it's like I know how messed up like DX is, but I never knew Adventure 2 also was like that, because so many people never questioned like Adventure 2 specifically.
I mean, for me, my only experience was with it on the GameCube, and I did not. I knew about the Dreamcast version, and I'd seen some gameplay of it, but it didn't stick with me, so I wouldn't have questioned. And especially I think Sonic as a people are used to like Sonic at 06, right? Like people are used to it being janky in some ways.
Yeah, so it's like people think that this jank is just Sonic Adventure or Adventure 2 as is, but like there's a lot of like small bugs and visual mess ups and stuff that just really add up in these versions that kind of do lower the game a little bit, but it seems like it's part of the game in a natural way when it's not.
Right. So okay, no, yeah, I hadn't really thought about it. Yeah, no, I didn't know that.
Like, especially because Sonic is such a childhood thing, right? Someone coming at it nowadays, you could play the Dreamcast version of Adventure 2, be on the Eggman or Tails stages with the correct audio and think it's wrong. You know what I mean? Because like you're nostalgic. 20 years of your life has been.
You would have some brain damage in that case. That sound shit is annoying
puts you
as
in
fuck.
the moment, like shooting an actual gun. It feels more
actually,
real.
I prefer when it's louder. The tinnitus it gives me mimics the tinnitus of a real Mac. Like what, brother? I respect that.
Oh yeah, and there was like I think what was crazy too is like in Adventure 2 on the Dreamcast versus on the GameCube, the way the rail grinding works is also different. Like you get more momentum in the Dreamcast version. I forgot the exact like explanation on like how they messed it up, but like essentially like the game, like even the gameplay, just to some small extent, isn't as fun. Like it's not just visual or sound or like minor glitches. Like there's like slight gameplay differences.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I know you wouldn't actually look like. I don't recommend you necessarily use that for your thing. It was just something that came to
No,
mind.
yeah, I mean, anything. It's a kind of video where it's like I talk about Car Career Circus for like half of it, and then I just talk about the idea in general, and I am planning on bringing up other examples. So anything that could be an example might be worth it, right? Because
Hmm.
it's a pretty broad topic, right? Because there's so many different angles to look at it, and the jumping off point is like the idea of like an outdated adaptation or like it's not and even just the fact like because there's a few things I like anime, but the question is like, are they still worth it? To go through as like but like some people they only watch anime and they're never going to read a 42 volume manga, right? So it's like, well, hey, here's a way to get this story. There's like a couple weird things about it, but overall it's still pretty solid and enjoyable on its own. Right, or just and then yeah, with video games, there's like archival. Like I think even if generally people are like, yeah, the original Persona 3, no one needs to play it because it has literally 3 other versions that all have their own offerings. Right, because like no other version has the female main character like Persona Portable. And so on and so forth. But like, I still don't think anyone wants it like erased from existence, right?
Yeah,
So because it's like
yeah,
the
like
original one was the one that like that's the specific version that changed the Persona series. So yeah.
Yeah,
Or
well, and what's interesting is because like they remade Reload, right? Which is closer to 3, probably at this point is just closer to like base 3 than any other version
oh
because
yeah,
it
because it
doesn't
does.
have
You're
the
right.
answer and it
Yes.
doesn't have the portable stuff. But what's funny about that is so you get Reload, which is like trying to do more like the base one, but portable is still purchasable on like modern things. So you could still buy portable and play FemC and see that game's like extra content with the context of what happens in base Persona 3, which I think is funny nowadays. But
yeah,
I did want to.
because I was thinking that like I definitely wouldn't bother playing Fez at this point personally, but like I'm probably just gonna play Reload, and then when I want to re-experience it, I'll try Portable with like the FemMC. Like I
Yeah,
feel like for
I
most
might
part, it
try.
fills out what I'd
I
want to
might try Fest
experience.
at some point, just to try the mechanic again and give it another good old college try. But that would not be anytime soon.
Oh
Yeah,
no,
Um,
especially right after fucking just sinking your life into
well, yeah, and
fucking
it's funny 'cause,
like
like it because I guess I can get into it a little bit. It was funny because like I knew I was gonna want to play the game because part of it was like I'd been itching for a JRPG. I've been playing just a bunch of other games, especially after like playing Horizon. I just wanted something that like was more story focused. The gameplay was gonna be just like a little bit less like just shoot a billion things into this thing and pick your menu selection a billion times to win this fight. Um, so I was kind of in the mood for it, and I'd been like excited for the game since playing P5 last year because it kind of gave me the itch. Um, and so I've been fucking mega grinding it, yeah. And like I'd like to try, I guess, portable at some point as well, but it's like I'd also like to replay 4 or maybe try another SMT game, but it's like I'm like halfway through the game at 40 hours. So I got another 40 hours, and then
Mhm.
I'll have to take a break. Probably. Especially with Reload coming out at the end of the month. It's like, brother, there's too many RPGs. Like,
yeah, and there's still their new fucking Ray
yeah.
Fantasio or whatever that's called.
Fantasia coming out at the end of the year. I'm so excited.
Yeah, that one I actually want to get day one. Like I feel
Um,
really, I guess, passionate about trying to support that one.
I'm really excited for that game, yeah. So here's what I'll say to Tanya personally. I had a really hard time playing Royal originally after 5. Like it took me like I did a dungeon and then didn't play the game for a year, and then a dungeon and then didn't play the game for a year. And then it was like when I started up the game and all I had to do, I was like at Kaneshiro's palace, and all I had to do was the dungeon because I had already done like all the life sim for that like block, so I did that, and then I was on to the 4th section. And from there I found it pretty easy to keep playing the game. Uh, Also, no, I think Royal's opening is so much better. Persona, the original Persona 5 opening is an opening from a different video game. Like, that opening is not made for Persona 5, the video game that we got. It was an opening made clearly at a different time in development. The characters you see are not even that, like, like, what is the Haru in that opening? That is not anything like the personality she has in, like, the real game. Like, it's just an opening from a different game. I'm sorry. And I can't vibe with it.
I'd have to
You're not
watch
gonna-
both of them. I never noticed that they like
I
seem
think
different
the
character
P5
wise.
Royal opening fits the actual vibe that Persona 5 has way more. and it has Joker and Akechi being gay. So. But yeah, P3 Reload is fucking insane. So like, I obviously can't again state with like the new content what all is new, how good I think it all necessarily is. But I'm enjoying it. I also was trying to explain to someone, it's like I can't say whether or not I think difficulty-wise this game's easier, because I think part of it is like, sure, probably the game is a little bit easier, but I'm also playing it on hard, and I played every other Persona game I'd played on easy. Or on normal, I mean, not.
I was going to say, you think gamer alert.
No, I went from normal.
That would
to
have
hard.
been crazy.
It'd just be funny to go from like, I did normal or easy. Let's just go right to hard. I'm ready. But no, I did on normal, and now I'm on hard. And it's just like, it's hard to judge the difficulty. I think it's probably it. I feel like if you are doing everything, it probably is a little bit harder. Or a little bit more challenging, and like you have to think a little bit more than P5 probably, especially like Royal, but probably a little like definitely easier than 4. So it is what it is. But I don't think the game's like that hard. But it is like the SMT style of unforgiving, where an enemy can hit your weakness if you're not prepared and just absolutely fucking demolish you in one turn if you're not ready. So, but I'm enjoying the game. I've been going back and forth with a friend who said he keeps saying that like he thinks the music changes aren't noticeable at all. And I think some songs have grown on me. Some songs I don't mind as much. But there are 2 songs that I really just can't get over, especially Mass Destruction. I actually think is so unbelievably bad. And so it does the thing the Persona games with 2 battle themes do, which is that it's a different battle theme if you have like start the fight with advantage or not. And so I like genuinely have like run away from fights to redo the fight with the good battle theme, because I just like can't stand the reload version of Mass Destruction actually. And I love that song. But it just like sounds worse, and so I just always want to hear the other battle theme. It's so sad.
Gotcha. Real quick, because Master Spoon brings up Yakuza, which I have heard the differences between, like, because Yakuza 1 and 2 were remade, and apparently the original versions are pretty different. I do believe that those versions are actually like more playable now, because there's undubbed versions of them, not officially, because like they did have official English releases, but with
why
not
would you
good
not
dubs.
want to play the Mark Hamill Goro Majima version of Yakuza 1 if you're going to play it on the PS1? I feel like that's like the biggest reason is to hear Mark Hamill Goro Majima.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, that's different.
No, well,
that
hold on.
changes
Why
things.
are we playing the undub of Yakuza 1? Let's grow up for a second. We're not playing the undub of Yakuza 1. I'm not allowing that shit. Now 7 and 8, yeah. We play or 8, I guess. So Gaiden and 8, yeah. Play that shit in Japanese. But if we're playing the PS2 version of Yakuza 1, brother, I want to hear Mark Hamill Goro Majima, please.
Okay, but I don't know, because like my thing, I feel like with because obviously playing only Yakuza 1. Okay, not 2 yet. Okay. Okay, yeah, no. Anyway, okay, now people in chat are getting furious over this conversation, but it's like, I don't know, yeah, because I guess more talking about like me, because it's like when starting a franchise, it's like or getting into a franchise, like I do want to have this desire to check it out from the beginning and see how it evolves and see what I can get out of that. Even though in the case of Yakuza specifically, it's like they don't like they made Zero as a more modern game so that to get people into the franchise, right? But I guess like for me, it's like I feel like between that in that example versus like Resident Evil, I'd probably be more Evil, because in neither case I really like want to get to that franchise right now, and I really don't want to start something that I'm not going to finish for a while. But like if I do it for video research and be like, okay, I'll just play these 2 versions of the same game for research, and then that'll be it. I feel like just Resident Evil is easier to like replay later on when I do get into Resident Evil. And also for Resident Evil, it's also like there's a weird apprehension I have about it, because like maybe it's trauma from having put so much time and money into Devil May Cry, but like there's a little bit which like I just feel like Resident Evil is just not for me, and there's but I don't know if that's actually true or not. Because I've never really played I think I got Resident Evil 4 as a rental, and I played like 10 minutes of it and stopped.
Well, if you do get into Resident Evil, when you get to 5, if you need a co-op partner, I am genuinely look. I should like post somewhere online. Like I am always down for a Resident Evil 5 co-op run, no matter what. Like anyone could hit me up at any time. You want to run Resident Evil 5, brother? I love.
You should do a rental boyfriend service where you play fucking Resident Evil with people.
That's what I'm saying. I will play Resident Evil 5 with you for fucking like minimum wage. I will honestly, yeah, just gladly sit there and happily.
That's so funny. I mean, I would love if you try to
200 hours a week playing Resident Evil 5.
I'd love to see you do it. Actually, like, not ironically. I mean, like that sounds amazing. But yeah, basically, so I feel, and maybe by trying Resident Evil 1 twice, there's a level at which like I could get over that mental, because it's not even like based in it. I have played a little of Resident Evil 5, by the way, but to finish my thought, it's like it's just, it's not a rational thing, because again, I haven't really put any time outside and go like, I don't think there's anything here that will appeal to me. And maybe you feel differently, Vindy, because you have some idea of my taste after so many years of us knowing each other.
So I think the biggest difference I would say is that
I know it's not Devil May Cry, but one of my least favorite parts of Devil May Cry was sticking around the castle, not knowing where to go. But maybe that was more because of the structure of Devil May Cry being a mission. I think
the stream might have went down.
Uh-oh.
It said I disconnected and stuff, but now
I'm refreshing and seeing. It says it's still live.
Okay. It said it reconnected, but
okay. Maybe we just had a.
Okay.
But anyway, so that's sort of my thought on that specific aspect of Devil May Cry, because I was really glad when DMC, Devil May Cry, and Devil May Cry 5 went away from that from the first 4 games. But anyway, what were you gonna say?
So I guess okay. So here's what I'll say about kind of trying to think a little bit about your taste, but I'm not entirely positive. So the first thing I'll say about Resident Evil, like mission structure wise, like that part of it, Resident Evil does have some games with mission structures, but the games with mission structures are way more linear, and even when you go back to an area, that's part of it. I also think Resident Evil just makes more sense in terms of like the exploration, right? Like the early Resident Evil, like I think the hardest one to figure out exploration wise is Resident Evil 1. But that game gives you like the easiest thing in the world, which is the map just tells you if you've done everything in a room.
Oh yeah, oh my god, that sounds great.
So you can just it's like if it's blue, you're done in the room. If it's red, there's more shit in the room. And it could be just like an item you haven't picked up. It could be ammo. It could be a key item. But it just lets you know if you've completed a room or if there's more for you to involve. Also, I think the only Resident Evils that are really, really like you're dicking around in an area for an extended period of time are one with the Spencer Mansion, but it's like a PS1 game. It's pretty short, and like to pad out that game's length, they give you 2 campaigns because it's like, I mean, I guess 2 and 3 do that as well, but like, or no, I think 3 doesn't do it, but 2 does it. 3 is just more replayable. Like they have 2 characters because the game's like pretty short, and so it's not that bad. Like it's a pretty short mansion. It's pretty easy to like not even need the map for the most part when you're going around the Spencer Mansion. You'd know where you're going. It's like way closer to like a Metroidvania, and then I don't think even the more action-based Resident Evils are very mechanical. Like it's not like a shooter as much as it is. Like I think of Resident Evil, especially like 4. That game's a fucking strategy game, brother. Like I play Resident Evil 4 like a strategy game, especially because when you open up your like your inventory to switch shit, it pauses time. So much of that game, and like you can't just like, shooting isn't a how well can I line up every headshot and do everything. So a lot of it is like, let me stand here, I have like 2 shots, 2 bullets I can get off. Aiming's not really hard in Resident Evil 4, so it's way more of like, okay, what am I gonna use in this situation? And it's way more like the game is throwing you in a bunch of different situations, and you have whatever tools you have, whatever ammo you've saved up, whatever grenades you've saved up, whatever you have, that's your tool set, and it's more like figuring it out. You could shoot a guy in the knee, run up, kick him and everyone else. You could pull out the shotgun and shoot them all. But it's way more of like a strategy game as opposed to being as like active. And then like you can even say that about DMC when you like know what you're doing, but even then it's like doing an action is easier, right? Like the idea of DMC being more strategy based is when you know how to do every move in your arsenal and can like do it without thinking. But in Resident Evil, it's like, can you hold the button to shoot and press the shoot button?
Okay.
You know, which is a lot easier on like just mechanically, and then it just is as simple as like, you know, okay, there's like 8 zombies in this room. Let me get a little bit of distance, run away. Am I gonna fucking throw a grenade or try to shoot them all or just leave?
Okay, gotcha. All right, yeah, I think I don't know if I'll need to, because I'm gonna like draft the script first, and if I feel like, you know, I could add way more to this by just, you know, doing this research, then that's definitely a thing I might do. But yeah, because especially because like Persona 3, it's like part of me is like I want to bring it up, but I haven't played it, so I might just bring it up in the like same with the context of like Persona 1 of
Do
just
you know
like
anyone who's played the original 3 and is playing Reload that you could ask to help?
Mathwiz is playing Fez right now, but I don't know that she'll be playing Reload. And off the top of my head, you're the only one I know who's playing Reload for sure. I'm trying to remember if I know anyone else, but I do not. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. And then, oh yeah, Murozaki mentioned apparently Grand Blue Relink, and I looked it up, and yeah, because I knew about the Grand Blue fighting, but I didn't know about the Grand Blue Monster Hunter like apparently.
I knew about it. It was one of those games that in a different time I would have picked up, but with it coming out in between Ace Attorney, Tekken, Under Night, and Persona, all of which I fucking bought, like, brother, I am not able to buy Grand Blue or Suicide Squad. It was the same way, where there's a world where I probably could have bought it.
I mean, maybe later on that can be a game that we play on the Weeb Club if it goes on a nice sale, because that way none can get into. No. Well, I mean maybe, but if it gets really cheap. But no, Grand Blue Relink, which is like it's a Monster Hunter-esque game apparently. So
I like Monster Hunter when it's not Monster Hunter, so that
I'm
might
going
work.
to unless it's sold. Okay, okay, gotcha. I thought you were saying that. Okay, never mind. I thought you were saying something else, and I got mad jokingly because I thought I thought you were gonna say something like, oh, like Monster Hunter called Monster Hunter. It's like you lying motherfuckers. Say. So okay, yeah, no, that might be neat to check out.
I can't wait for the 2025 Monster Hunter streams to return. By the way,
with what? With the Wilds?
brother.
Yeah, fuck yeah. Yeah, I agree. Oh yeah, and Link asked if he was on the Left 4 Dead stream, and he did reply. He was in chat there, I remember. So yeah. Just wanted to say because he asked a question. What have you been up to, Nun?
In terms of what I've been watching? Or...
Yeah, I guess so. Because
Okay.
I guess we're doing a quasi rotation. I guess because you know. Well, I mean, Vindy only got a little bit in there of Persona 3.
I can probably talk a little bit more about Persona 3.
Go for it.
So first of all, it's funny because like, I don't know, like. It's just funny because, like, first of all, it was a game that, like, didn't feel real at first. Because I remember hearing people talk about it since, like, 2017, right? Maybe I talked about that last week. But, it's just so silly that, like, you know, everyone's talking about, like, a Persona 5 engine, which was, like, the Catherine engine, version of Persona 3. I haven't seen anyone talk about it, but they like switched engines. Like it's in Unreal, and it looks so much better than Persona 5. Like actually, like the lighting is fucking bonkers. Especially like when you're in the dungeon. Like, brother, some of the way things get lit up is crazy. And just visually, like that game looks so bonkers. Like the UI designer, they've said before that their UI people are like their big talent, which like makes sense, right? Like if you're an RPG studio, the thing that people do the most, no matter how they're doing it, right, is going to be menus, right? They're either going to be preparing for a fight or in a fight, and either way they're in a menu. It's that and like running around the overworld. So it makes sense that their UI designers are the people who make the most money. But brother, holy shit, the fucking
I've seen a video and I was like, oh my god.
The first time I pressed the menu button, I just like got out of the menu and did it a bunch of times, like 10 times in a row. Just like press triangle and then backed out and then press triangle again, because that shit is so bonkers. It's crazy. there's so much personality and style. And what blows my mind is like it's so good and so nice and so different from Persona 5. Like there are some similarities just because there have to be similar things on the screen because there's similar information. They're
items,
the same.
party,
options, and like it shows you the same like log, fast forward, like when you're like in the main menu, and it has to show you the date and the like day part. But I think outside of that, like the menus feel so different than from P5's, and the game just as a whole, like it shit fucking slaps, brother. Like I don't even know how to like really say it. It's so good on like all the technical things that you would want. It's hard to talk too much about the story because it starts pretty slow. It takes a little bit to like really speed up. And I'm like halfway through. So for people in chat who want to know where I am, it's hard to say, I guess, which month because like the bosses are in. Because like so the full moon bosses are like at the start of the month. So I just finished the full moon boss that's at the start of September, but it's like the block of time that covers most of August. So right at the end of summer vacation, that boss that happens right then is where I am. So I feel like the story is like really about to start kicking into overdrive because all the party members have shown up. It feels like kind of all the pieces are in play for shit to start kicking off. But I think that, like it's pretty good so far. It's interesting. Like I'd seen people say it like time and for years. And it's funny to say because it sounds cliched to say at this point, but it really is true that like it hits so much different that the P3 party like is not friendly at the start. And like to explain it in better ways, because I think part of the reason that I didn't understand like what that meant is like people don't really explain it well, and maybe it's because they don't want to do spoilers, but I also think people just aren't good at explaining it. It's that like people in the party are actively working against each other at the start of the game.
Oh,
like people don't and not working against each other in like a really Machiavellian sense, but in a high schooler sense, right?
You said Machiavellian sense.
Like, yeah, they're not fucking Sun Tzu over here, like drawing up plans to take out the other one. But it's that like literally one character does not like another and is like basically spreading rumors about her.
They're not dark triads.
Yeah, like she's coming up to you and other characters in like the dorm and on walks to school and being like, "Hey, what do y'all think about this bitch? I think she's kind of a cunt." And everyone's like, "Whoa!" But you're kind of spitting. And she's like slowly turning people like socially like again. And it's cool to see like that dynamic happen in like a JRPG, where like in Persona 4 and 5, it's way more like a Power Rangers dynamic, where they're friends and someone new gets added and you're one of the friends and now you're in the group. P3 is like, hey, we're here out of circumstance and we don't all like each other, but then it does feel earned when they all kind of get
together and on the same there you go.
It's just interesting seeing because it does feel more realistic to how like social situations like that in a high school setting are, where like not everyone chose to be there, not everyone's like each other right away. And so I just thought that was cool to see. Any new song slaps. There's one song that I heard remixed that I need to look more to figure out if just the version that I listened to from the original sucks, or they made it just like 200 times better. But I guess anyone in chat, fucking Changing Seasons, did they just make that song like 200 times better? Because the new version like goes so crazy, and I listened to the original version, and like the like horns were a lot louder in the mix, but there was like not the fucking banger vocal melody. So it's like I liked the instrumentation a little bit more, but like it didn't matter because there wasn't like good as fuck vocals in Changing Seasons. I think the song is it's the fall time school song. So like once you come back from summer, the song that plays during like school time. Yeah, and then also the last thing I'll say about Persona 4 really quickly is just that, brother, it is crazy how dog shit Persona 5 is. Like, not actually, because I like a lot of that game, but
I was about to say
the main cast of that game is genuinely just weak. Like, they are just a weak cast. They're sauceless. They're not exciting. They're not interesting. Characters just like kind of aren't that present in the story. I don't like the Persona 5 cast that much. I think it also hurts that game a lot that like the two starting party members are the two most boring ones. You know what I mean? Like Anne has no character.
I think at first An's actually really good. Better than I remember her being at first, but she definitely does just fucking fade into the background to the insane extent.
I don't like Ryuji. Okay, I'm sorry. I don't dislike Ryuji. I like Ryuji. He just kind of doesn't have a lot going on as a character. But he's a really likable character. Especially compared to the other two starting Persona guys. He's the most likable guy that you can see as a friend, a bro, right? Compared to homophobic Yosuke or sex pest Junpei. But that being said, I don't think Ryuji's got the most interesting character motivations or character development, and that's fine. But he's just kind of sauceless, the same way that I think Anne is sauceless for the most part. Maybe the exact same way, but they're both sauceless. And when I compare them to starting with Chie and Yosuke, who I guess aren't as good, but then especially fucking Yukari and Junpei, it's brother, holy fuck, what are we talking about? The P5 party I just do not like as much. Cast wise. Also, what are you talking about? Makoto ruins the dynamic because she has to be written as the smart one. I don't even know what that means. Also,
what? Who said that?
3, that's Muro. Also, I feel like the smart one in Persona 3 is there from the fucking beginning. Mitsuru's in the dorm from day one, brother.
Why is it a problem to have the smart one? I don't
it allows more characters to have vibrancy and interactions and chime in more on the main narrative. I think that's not an issue with Makoto being the smartest one. That's an issue with Makoto having the most plot relevance, right? When you look at the actual main story of Persona 5, Makoto's the one of the only party members that has real relevance to the actual story going on, right? She's realistically the only one that has relevance outside of the arc story of individual palaces, where characters will have a lot of interaction and then fall off because what does Kamoshida and the volleyball team and all the shit he did what's the name of their fucking school, Shujin, have to do with fucking politics? You know what I mean? It has nothing to do with it. So Ryuji's arc of the track team has fucking nothing to do with what's going on later in the game, so he doesn't need to show up as much. Versus Makoto, who because of the place her sister's in, she's relevant in the entire narrative once she shows up, so she's always showing up. Versus I think it just being because she's the smart character. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So it is what it is. Basically, this game drops Persona 5 stock like crazy solely because, and this is actually crazy, because Persona 5 is no longer the standalone undisputed king for music and style and UI and shit in a JRPG, right? Now Persona 3 Reload is at least on par with it, and it's got a good fucking story, so Persona 5's just fucked. It's no longer the best in one and then okay in the other. Now it's just one of the best and okay. It is what it is, brother.
Big sad. Also, real quick, Lynx asks if any of us have seen Evangelion. So there's actually you can go and there's a Weeb Club video where me and Nun talk about the Thrice Upon a Time, the final rebuild movie, and we've seen it, and I know Vindy's also seen at least TV series. I know, I don't think you've seen all the rebuilds, if any of them, so...
I've seen TV series and EOE, but I saw them in high school, so it was 2017.
Okay, yeah, I was, yeah. Also, and then Muro asks what I was going to bring up next. I assume Muro asks if you've seen the leaks, which I assume is because we just found out more, literally just dude on Twitter who works for Atlas being Persona 2 and Persona 4 remake or I think,
well, I mean, that got corrected to where they're just gonna remaster Persona 2, and then the Persona 4 remake is years off. They haven't even started.
Yeah, that'll be post Persona 6, but I had been waiting until I was gonna make a tweet a week after Reload dropped and been is it too early to start asking for a Persona 4 remake Reload? Atlas milked that game for too long. They will continue to milk it. Here's the thing. They can start milking Persona 3 again. Or I mean, they kind of were, but they can start hard milking Persona 3. They can just give us Persona 3 spinoffs for no reason again.
Yeah.
They can do that shit again if they do Persona 4 again. Of course they're gonna fucking remake Persona 4. That's like their fucking cash cow. They're looking at it with fucking like money in their eyes. You know what I mean? Like they're turning into Scrooge McDuck, thinking they're fucking. The idea of a Persona 2 remaster is cool. I think it fucking blows though, because, from my understanding, Persona 2 is like actually a direct sequel to 1. Like there's party members that in 1 that show up like aged up.
I heard something about someone that in one of those tweets there was like a double pack mentioned, or at least so I guess I feel like the remaster would be both games. Hopefully, is
that a double pack? Hold on. Is that a double pack of 1 and 2, or is that a double pack of the Persona?
I would assume it's Innocent Sin and Eternal Punishment. So yeah,
that's what I mean. So yes. What about Persona 1?
Oh, I don't. Oh, is there connections between 1 and 2? I didn't know that.
That's what I mean.
Okay.
Like,
sorry,
party members in Persona 1 show up aged up in Persona 2's story, and like show up like in the story, like not just. You know, like, oh, they like have cameos, or in the spin-offs, like the Persona 3 characters are in like the Persona 4 spin-offs.
Gotcha. Okay.
I think that, like the Persona 2 games are like direct sequels, not like in every way, because like I think it is a mostly new party, but
yeah, I didn't hear anything about that because and I know people are still like I saw in other tweets talking about how like, you know, there's still no official English release of the first 2 Shin Megami Tensei games, so it's like you know, it's just but obviously it's like that's even an issue just because like no one kind of cares about Megami Tensei games, the mainline ones. So
that is true, especially if they like cut out some of Yosuke's homophobia from Persona.
They definitely will.
Well, they cut out the one transphobic scene. I mean, they didn't cut it out technically. Everything about the scene, like visually, is still the same. They just rewrote it so that now instead of the girl being transgender, what is it? She's just like crazy and starts like going like talking in like she's like gives like conspiracy theories about like the Earth being flat or some shit.
Oh God,
because she's crazy. So, I mean, I feel like if you just rewrite the lines so that Yosuke's got some other thing he's freaked out about, like, you know, if he's like, why do you like animal crackers? Are you a child? Instead of, are you going to molest me in my sleep because you're gay? Like, that'd be way better, you know?
Why'd you say it so aggressively?
That's what Yosuke says! That's like Yosuke's fucking dialogue in this scene. He's like, hey, Kanji, I know I saw, like, the most vulnerable moment of your life where you said you aren't gay, but you could have been gay, so don't molest me, please. That's like, holy shit, Yosuke, calm down.
Jesus.
Brother, that's the fucking game. You haven't played it yet, but I'm not wrong.
Okay, I'll take your word for it until I have my own experience to draw from.
I hate Yosuke.
But yeah, definitely curious to see what happens with the franchise, because obviously Persona 6 is going to happen, and hopefully it's good. So because that was also talked about, but that's also like a foregone conclusion, right? So yeah, I at least hope that it's just called Persona 6 and they don't just drop the number as every franchise seems to be doing these days.
No, they're 2 away from that. Don't worry. I also think JRPG series, I know people are gonna say Yakuza, it doesn't count. It wasn't mostly RPGs. But I think JRPG series, for the most part, get away with
that's true.
Keeping the numbers.
Yeah. But anyway, okay, now I guess Nutton, if you want to talk about something else.
I've been watching Food Wars. I'm 12 episodes in on season 1. I've seen it up till like part of third plate, so I'm still gonna be just rewatching what I've already seen for a while. But I mean, I first saw it in like 2015, so it's like it's been a fucking while. Even though like there's nothing that's happened so far that I just don't remember. Like I do remember. But like the recent episode I watched did like get me in a way that like for some reason I don't know why it made me so like emotional, because it was like it was sad, like, you know, they had sad music. It was like in the episode Megumi was like facing off against one of the instructors in like a cooking match so she doesn't get expelled. And obviously she like doubts herself a lot, and she was like thinking about how many times she's like failed and how she's like the weakest in the class, well, in her classes so far generally. So like it was sad, but it was just like not really sad enough to make me cry for some reason, but I did. I don't like I don't know if I was just emotional at the time, and then like also like I was already getting sad when it was like playing those scenes, and then like her talking about like Soma always supporting her and stuff. But for some reason, like when they pointed out how nice she is and how like she thinks about the people that she's cooking for, like even though she's competing, she was thinking of the instructors having already eaten a lot, so like she tailored her dish toward like the fact that like, oh, they must be full, like they must have full stomachs, so I want something light on their stomach, help their digestion. For some reason, just that made me cry. Like, I don't know why. Like, I was like, she's so nice. I'm crying now. But I've been enjoying it a lot because Soma's just, like, a lot cooler than I remember him being. Just because, like, he really thinks that he can beat anyone. Like, there's nobody so far that he's, like, met that he thinks is, like, better than him, which is, like, cool to see. And the fact that like he just challenges anybody like straight up is really awesome. And I like the general thing of like, even though his dishes don't always look the most visually impressive on the surface, there's that like hidden aspect to his cooking. That is just like, you know, it is cool to like see some unique things. Even though I will say like having like actually knowing some of the stuff that they talk about sometimes, there was like one, like I can't remember what it was, but there was like one episode where they acted like a really basic thing was like this crazy like, oh my god, I can't believe he did this, and I'm like, what? That I didn't know that's like a crazy thing. I feel like that's just a normal thing, but like the way they were explaining it, they acted like it was like this really amazing advanced cooking thing, and it was just like no shot.
That's funny.
But yeah, it's really good. I don't have like a lot to say about it because I'm not super deep into season 1. I'm halfway, but like I wouldn't say like a ton has happened. Like he's had like 3 different Shokugekis. Like he did Mito. His like, I know he doesn't stay as Soma's main rival, but like I can't remember his name, but he's the guy that like they say is like Soma. Like everyone so far isn't like Soma in the sense of like most of them have never worked in a real kitchen, but this other character has.
Oh, the guy who hangs out with Alice?
No, is he blonde?
Oh, no. Oh, I know who you're talking about now.
Yeah, he has the twin brother.
The sushi guy, not the the French guy, right?
Yeah. Cause yeah, he like I know he falls off as like the main rival. Like he's definitely not Soma's main rival. He's just like the first rival that he has. That's like the first guy who's similar to him. He could at least have like Tien. I think that's fair. He's like Tien probably. Then again, Tien does kind of beat Goku, like actually. So maybe not.
Yeah, I mean he's like one of the first guys that gets fought, becomes a homie, and then becomes like a perennial jobber. Brother, that's Yamcha. I'm sorry.
Yeah, never mind. You're right. And then obviously this one with the instructor, but the difference was like he was just the supporting chef. He like they were expecting him to be able to be the main chef, but he wasn't. And it was interesting too that like he was still so upset about like losing that challenge, even though like it partially wasn't his fault because it wasn't his recipe idea. He could only be the support. But yeah, it's super cool to see like his general like drive to win, and it's still funny and like entertaining to see like the show treat cooking as like a battle thing, especially with like the over the top reactions to stuff. Like even just this episode, it was funny to see like someone have character development from eating a dish, like from eating some food. They changed as a character. Like Like he revealed his backstory, and he was just like, "This makes you feel like you're eating a mother's cooking," and it like took him back to his like old childhood days. Like it's just very funny. Um, yeah, it's good. Uh, I'm looking forward to seeing how it ends and stuff because I know a lot of people don't like the ending, but even if I feel the same way, I hope I still like the series by the end because I'm liking it a lot right now.
My favorite Food Wars anecdote is my younger brother who he Food Wars. I think he's watched like one episode of last season, but apparently the season before that is like such a good ending point. And I told him that the stuff after is like controversial and not very well liked. So he's just like, "Yeah, I'm good.
Go.
I don't need to finish it. Stop there." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's fair." Yeah. So but anyway,
He's
it's also funny.
scared.
He's scared of chainsaw cooking. I don't actually know if that happens. It's, I don't know.
That's before that.
Oh shit. Never mind. But anyway, so yeah, I'm gonna talk about this elsewhere, and I know where I'm going to when I finish it. But I'll talk about it a little bit here since I'm 5 episodes in. But I started watching The Bear, which is the live action FX series about cooking, which I thought was funny. It's just like after Nun said Food Wars, I'm like, wait, I also want to talk about something that's about cooking.
The new Euphoria, and Euphoria.
I love that show, but I haven't seen season 2 stuff. Maybe I hate it.
Oh yeah, no, because I'm 5 episodes into season 1. Yeah, I was wondering when Vindy would stop coughing enough to get across like how much he's seen of it. But yeah, no, it's really really good so far. Just I like the fucking the energy is intense with just the where it gets across the cooking in a kitchen aspect of just like the fucking first scene. The episodes just blaze right by, like they're variable, but I'll still just be like, wait, it's over already, motherfucker. And it's had some good humor moments. The characters are neat. I'm liking the kind of like dynamics they have between the different characters in the restaurant. Like Marcus, he's the baker. He's cool. He's a bro. And the fucking like the just sort of having that sort of implicit comparison between Harmon's like because he comes from this high class restaurant that because he was like one of the most talented chefs in the whole fucking country, and now he's working basically a diner pretty much, and sort of butting heads with the staff there and the people who they've had their systems and their traditions and all this they're used to, and maybe the high class stuff isn't always the best mix or even really fitting for this environment, but that's sort of like changing versus staying, or what should stay the same. And yeah, like Sydney's good. It's just I've been really into it so far. I've watched like 5 up 2 days, and I'm really excited to catch up because it's good so far, and I'm curious as to what's gonna happen because it's there's a whole last season 2 that's longer than one. There's like I don't know. I was a little worried getting into it because like I've been watching Daredevil. I finished season 1 and I have and they're both like hour-long episode shows pretty much. But The Bear, it's like, oh yeah, there's like 20 or 25-minute or half an hour episode, average around like 25 half an hour. But then I checked, I was just like one episode is like an hour long, and I'm like, oh boy, that's gonna be a wild one in season 2. So but yeah, it's been really good so far, and I'm glad that it's not gonna be a super long watch after going through some longer shows. So yeah, it's been cool.
Nice. Anything else you've been going through, Vindy?
I think, yeah, okay, go ahead.
Have I been going through anything else? I had other stuff I wanted to be playing, and like it's like just been Persona because like I haven't like touched any Ace Attorney basically since I started Persona, and that's mainly because like if I'm gonna sit there and read a game,
it's gonna be Persona, right?
I'm gonna sit there and read Persona, yeah. Even though like I love Ace Attorney and I'm so excited to get back. Like I finished the first 2 cases in Apollo Justice. And they were good. I like Ace Attorney. There was some there was some fucking ludicrous DS CGI, both in the second case and at the start of the third. Like, holy fuck. Like, I don't know why they were trying to go hard on the DS, brother, but shit was hysterical.
Wait, in this version of the game that you're playing on Steam?
Yeah, like they just upscaled the resolution, but they didn't like change it. So it is DS CGI being blasted in your face. But now, because I'm playing it on PS5, it's DS CGI being blasted on my face in 4K. So I can see every fucking little piece of that DS CGI, and it is glorious. Like every single time, because it has a whole transition into it, brother. Like it drops you over and drops you in on the fucking CGI to like reconstruct the murder scene. I died laughing the first like 2 times, and then there's an entire like concert scene at the start of the third case, and some kooky shit happens, and I don't want to spoil what happens because it's genuinely hysterical. But like I was dying. I know Moreau's probably an Ace Attorney fan. He probably knows what I'm talking about, but I think Moreau's an Ace Attorney fan.
I think so too. Yeah. No, I don't know. Yeah.
I remember you consulting Murrow about Ace Attorney for one of your videos once.
I did. I just don't know how comprehensive his engagement with the franchise is. But,
if he's a fan, he would have played Apollo Justice.
I assume, right? But I don't like to make assumptions.
But yeah, I mean that game's just fucking silly. I'm enjoying it quite a bit. I haven't played that much of it. I guess I could say. It was funny. I used to have Persona 4 dancing because a buddy had bought so there was Persona 4 dancing, right? And because I was trying to find a game. The only time right now I'm playing a game that isn't Persona is like when I want to play something that I don't have to think about. So it's like I'm not playing. It's been a little bit of Fortnite, but I was trying to find something else, and I was curious because I wanted to play Persona 4 dancing because that game's fucking sick. But the only way to play it, not on the Vita, and I don't want to buy it on the Vita, is I don't want to do a hacking my Vita, and I also don't want to play that game on the Vita. That it's only available if you buy like the collection of Persona 5 and 3 dancing. And I used to have it because I used to game share like on PlayStation with a friend who had bought the collection, and it gives you a digital code, but he had the games physically, so I had never tried Persona 3 and Persona 5 dancing. But I looked it up in the store just like because I was curious, and it was like $13 for the 2 of them on PlayStation. So I fucking bought it.
I forgot to buy that shit.
Persona 4 dancing, and I played a little bit of Persona 5 dancing. I'm waiting on that one. I've done every song once, but I'm waiting to play Persona 3 because I want to finish the game. But Persona 5 dancing actually kind of sucks, and the track list kind of sucks in that game. But I'm replaying Persona 4.
Persona 5 keeps losing.
Yeah, just Persona 5 worst Persona game confirmed.
Well, okay, I say all that, but there was some like there was a little bit when I was doing some of like the that game's like character conversations, which that game doesn't have like a full, because like Persona 4 has like a full-on like VN story mode that takes place after Persona 4, and from my understanding like is contextualized within the story of that game, and is like tied to the themes of the games. And the Persona 5 and 3 dancing story is just the casts of Persona 5 and 3 are doing a dance-off. And that level of and so the story is just like little character conversations between 2 characters at a time, and then you do the songs, right? And that level of effort I think carries over to all the parts of the difference, at least between Persona 5 and like Persona 4 dancing. Also, I think the part of the problem I have with the Persona 5 dancing set list is just like it's a bunch of like it's the same with 4, but it's a bunch of remixes of like the songs in the game, and then some of the songs in the game. And I just think that like Persona 5's songs, I don't think lend themselves to the type of remixes in the dancing games as like 4's did, and I actually imagine 3's will. Just like I don't know how to explain it. It's like Persona 5 songs are like too grand, and there's too many strings. Like you start throwing in like fucking like an EDM remix on top of it, and it doesn't vibe as hard as like kind of the like disco sound of 4, or like the, you know, already like kind of hip hop sound of 3, like, you know what I mean? So you know, it is what it is, but it's like the exact same gameplay, so it's just as fun. I just don't think, and like, you know, so a lot of the songs are, and also to be fair to Persona 5 Dancing, to give it, I guess, another point in its favor, it didn't have the benefit of a re-release, and a re-release is worth extra songs because it came out before Royal. So it just has base Persona 5. So, like, if it had Takeover in it, and, like, Colors Fly High, and, like, I Believe, like, a bunch of the good Royal songs, it probably would be a better, like, song list just off base. I don't think a lot of those would have been DLC if the game had come out, you know, as long after as Persona 5 or 4 Dancing or 3 Dancing, but you know, it is what it is. In the modern day, just like it makes it, like, in hindsight, like, definitely, like, weaker. But it is what it is.
Gotcha. Oh yeah, I was gonna ask because, like, I don't know, in my brain, I know this is me being dumb and wrong, but I think of, like, dancing and rhythm games, or like I assume you play it with, like, a controller or a keyboard or something, and not
Yeah, just a controller.
Okay, gotcha. Because in my head, I'm just thinking, like, how big DDR pads were back in the day, and I'm just like, that can't be how things are times.
No,
right?
well, you got to remember. So Atlas is owned by Sega, and I think these games are just made by Sega actually, because they have, like, Miku DLC and 4 Dancing, and there's, like, Sonic costumes and stuff. But Sega make all those Miku games on PlayStation, and those are just controller rhythm games, and they're not the exact same, but there are some similarities. The only issue I have with actually that Miku game and the Persona Dancing games, just, like, compared to, like, really rhythm games I really like, is there's, like, way more abstraction between what I'm doing in my controller and, like, what's happening on screen, right? Like, I think the GOAT for this is, like, Rock Band, where what you are doing on your controller directly influences a, like, track in the song. Like, if you miss a note and you're, like, guitars, the guitars are gone until you start hitting notes again.
No, I want to hear the song. I want to enjoy the music. I don't want to hear my flubs.
Like, you feel like you get feedback in the song, and it makes you feel like what you are doing matters in it, right? And for, like, a dancing game, I can miss notes and, like, I'll fail the song, but they keep dancing the exact same whether or not I'm hitting my notes or missing them, you know? And so, you know, it is what it is.
Okay. Because yeah, they are on my list. I don't know if I'll, like, dedicated play them, or I'll, like, consider them, like, completion, and I'll come back to around them later. But I'll probably try at least one of them one of these days. So
I mean,
yeah.
so the problem is, it's like, I mean, I guess if you have a Vita and you mod that, then probably it is 4 Dancing. You can just try easily, and it has, like, a story that is tied in with, because one of the characters in Persona 4 is an idol, and so the story of Persona 4 Dancing, like, follows her at the start and, like, is built off her. But that's why, like, it's a dancing game, you know. The other ones are just dancing games because they already had a formula for a Persona Dancing game. So, like, 4 Dancing would be the better one to try, but
I mean, I think that's the one that came out first, so that would be the first one I try anyway.
The only way to buy it is either to, like, have a Vita or to buy, like, the full collection. And, like, again, to be fair, I got the collection for fucking
$13, right? You said, or
I think it was 16, maybe.
Oh, 16. Okay.
None said he was gonna look. I don't remember exactly. He might remember, but it was, like, something cheap on PlayStation right now for all 3.
Okay.
But
yeah, I can wait for a sale. So
that would be the only thing with those is, like, you got to either wait for a sale or
be a pirate. Yeah. But yeah, I'll probably play Persona 4 Dancing, and then depending on how I feel, like, if I'm really like I could, right? Because I'm looking at my list, and they came out pretty close to, or hold on, there was Persona 4 Dancing, and then there was a couple other games, including Shin Megami Tensei 4 and Persona 5, and then it was Persona 3 and 5 Dancing. So if I feel like it, I might. Otherwise, I'll skip those two. But I think I'll probably definitely play Persona 4. So yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, the way I see it is, like, for the price I paid, I really was just trying to buy Persona 4 Dancing, because I like the music in that game.
Yeah, you like isn't it your current favorite Persona game?
Yeah,
and always, at least, you know, as far as I've known.
And then if Persona 3, like, I like it as much as well, I have that one. But, like, I just wanted to play all the songs in Persona 5 Dancing once, And like now that I've done that, I like deleted the game. I don't know if I'll ever touch it again. I might just try to get the platinum because I heard the Persona dancing for 3 and 5. Those are really fucking like almost like baby easy to get. Like they're almost insulting. So
Okay.
might just grind those out, but I'm not sure.
Get those plats. Yeah. Do we want to do one more rotation, or do we want to call it?
I'm fine with not doing another rotation, but I mean, I think I have something.
I'm fine with not doing another rotation, just talking about other shit for a little bit.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, I guess Funimation is fucking dead. I don't know if we have anything to say about that.
Isn't so I am
Or maybe
not. No.
Okay.
So I was just saying I didn't follow it that much. So is Funimation like just the service to watch anime dead?
That's what
Or
I thought
is
was
Funimation
dead,
as a like dub like creator, a dubber dead? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like at this point it's just fully absorbed into Crunchyroll, so it doesn't even like I mean maybe they'll still use their logo in front of stuff, maybe, but like I don't really
like,
think they're
is Crunchyroll just gonna be
anything.
doing all the dubs, or are they just dropping dubbing like entirely as well?
I feel
Or
like
as
people would
well,
have said
like, I have no idea.
they're doing that.
I saw
I
some
feel like they're
tweets
still
like
dubbing.
there's some I guess layoffs happening or something in that department too. So it's not, I don't know. It doesn't seem to be like it's only digital stuff is being affected. Is what I'm gathering from Twitter. But I'll try and find one of the tweets I just saw.
Yeah, just because like in my head when I think of Funimation, I don't think of them as like a streaming service. I think of them
Right.
as like the people who've been dubbing anime, like the largest, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I hear they're dying. And it's like I didn't look into it, so I don't know what level of.
What? Because yeah, I saw a tweet, but I don't really want to just trust it offhand because maybe they were misunderstanding too. And it's not like Wikipedia only says the closing of the streaming service, but yeah. No, this person also says Funimation was where I got my start right after Freedom Planet. Sad to see it officially go. So I don't know. Yeah, no, but then the Funimation service. So it's like, yeah, I don't think that's the. Yeah, it sounds like I assume they're gonna still be dubbing stuff because it's like, you know, even if like they were part of like yeah, like there's I think yeah. So okay, never mind. Yeah, but it's still there's like as also pointed out because
Crunchyroll's just like absorb the operations, but
yes, and also they up their prices too, which means they're basically trying to further monopolize stuff. So
yeah.
I mean the thing was is like in comparison to like people who wanted to use Funimation, they were paying half the price, but now they like if they don't cancel, they're automatically going into something that's double the price, which like
oh god, that's
granted for a streaming service 100 a year isn't crazy, but it's still like the fact that it's like they don't have the option to just pay for what they were doing before is kind of sucks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know if I have any more to say on that. I just remembered, hey, that's something newsworthy that we could also talk about because it's, people are being like, yeah, fuck that, I'm just gonna pirate anime. It's still really easy to do.
The thing is, like, pirating anime is so easy, and I mean, it's, I think they're trying to crack down on it in the States, but it's still so easy to do that, like, when you make people pay more for it, people are just gonna fucking pirate it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really have much of a stake in it because I don't really care. I already, like, even before this, stopped with my Crunchyroll subscription, mostly because I was, like, annoyed as shit that, like, when I was trying to watch Gintama on there, it fucking buffers, like, way more than other streaming services buffer. So I would constantly end up having to just watch it on my computer because I downloaded the whole show, but I was also just watching it on Crunchyroll. But when that wouldn't work, I would just go back to the shit I pirated, even though I was trying to actually watch it on Crunchyroll.
Yeah, I only buy Crunchyroll for for convenience. So if it's not worth the convenience, I'll just stop paying for it. Like I have no problem not
Yeah,
buying
like
Crunchyroll.
actually, like that's what it was for me because it was like, before I got the monitor that I have now, which my monitor is bigger than my TV and it's also 4K, so like it is nicer to watch on here. But that was before I had that, so I wanted to
Yeah.
watch on my TV, so that's why I was paying for Crunchyroll, and it was nice to watch on there, and I could watch some seasonals on there if I wanted to as well, like the vending machine show that we all finished and loved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That yeah, that's exactly how I feel about it. Is like it's easier for like if I just want to watch a couple episodes of something because I don't have to download it all. So like it is nice sometimes to like if I don't want to have all of like a longer season downloaded, like I can go look up a scene of Naruto or go look up a scene of One Piece really easily. Um,
Hmm.
there's that convenience, and then the only other big one, yeah, is just like being able to watch stuff in other places, not having to like be at my computer. But at this point, yeah, I have no problem just only watching, you know what I mean? And I don't even watch stuff anyways, but uh, you know, just from here on out, just not even worrying about it. Like I will just fucking download whatever.
Yeah. Um, like the few other streaming services that I still have, which I mean I don't pay for them, so I just fucking borrow that shit. They just work better, like so that's why I still use them. Like I'm mostly satisfied with Netflix, especially because like I'm not using Netflix for anime. I'm using it for like live action stuff, which is like actually just kind of more annoying to like go out of my way to get.
Yeah,
And then
yeah,
sometimes
yeah.
when I'm browsing on there, there's something I wouldn't have watched, not because it was hard to get, like I just wouldn't have thought of watching it, but like I see it on there and I'm like, oh, I'll try that out. So like it actually has some worth for me.
Yeah, that's fair. Because yeah, no, I was mentioning how easy it is to pirate anime, but I wasn't because for me, I have like websites, but they're like private for downloading Western stuff. So it's like, but that's not something everybody has access to, because they are cracked down on more. So it makes sense that they have to be more like private and such. Because I know of some other ones, but yeah, anime in general, and fucking Toku. Like I fucking streamed Tokusatsu for fucking months and nobody gave it. That nothing happened that bad from that.
Oh
Like
yeah,
just
I
straight up
forgot you
streaming
did that on fucking Twitch.
copyrighted fucking content, and no issue. As I wasn't planning on keeping the VODs anyway. I think it was like 10 to 20 people on average, somewhere in that range. So it was
Mm-hmm.
um, it was something. It was something else. Um, and yeah, I think Titania's right. That it's probably better to buy like DVDs or merch than subscribe to a streaming service because I think there was from like the popularity of anime from like Crunchyroll and stuff. So yeah,
Yeah, but just
and
know that as a Westerner, if you're buying DVDs and you're like, I'm supporting, a lot of your money is also just going to the people who
yes,
localized it and dubbed it. So, like, if you really want to specifically, like, if you are talking about, like, I'm buying to support, then, like, brother, like, you're importing? You import to
yes.
support, I think.
Well, like that's actually because I've seen people buying Japanese volumes of Kagurabachi because it does actually have its legitimate fans, and it's like there was a really funny pair of tweets I saw where one person actually like in Japan buying a volume of Kagurabachi, and then a Japanese Twitter user mentioned it's like they saw a white person in a bookstore and they bought Kagurabachi, which is it's like it's known for being
Oh, right,
popular
yeah,
with
that's
with
funny.
American people basically, and then like I saw there's the Native Americans. It's like man's been here. How can you tell? Kagurabachi,
Kagurabachi.
and it's like so um like but like those people are legitimately supporting the series by doing that because that the volume sales are pretty important. Like I just saw tweets that both Kagurabachi and another action series that started around the same time that I have still be following, Mama Yu, which is they're both getting reprints, right? So like the fact that people are like helping, that's actually legitimately supporting the series that they care about, right? Like they can't even fucking read those volumes; they can only like look at them basically, right? But they're still willing to, that's not and because as far as the Blu-rays and DVDs, you're absolutely right. Because like discotheque, I think about because like Shapes works for them, and he's done videos about that. And like, you know, he has this big hour-long video talking about like why it's a good idea to buy them, because you know they're like obviously supporting the industry. Like people like if you buy the Berserk Blu-ray, you're not supporting the people who worked on that show, because they have long since moved on from that studio in a lot of cases, and like they're not they're not going to see any of that money. But you can still get like a good version of, like, it's basically the best release that you can get.
That's one thing you are supporting that you should think about, that is the reason to
support good quality products.
If you support a good release of Berserk, then there's a better chance that good releases of other like 90s stuff. So that's where the support comes into play. Is it's like, you know, if I support, and it changes obviously based on language and stuff like that. But yeah, like if you're buying to support stuff coming over here, that's the reason to buy like Western stuff out of support, versus buying you know, like like the I'm gonna go to Crunchyroll and buy the K-On! Release there to support KyoAni. It's like that's not necessarily how that works, you know.
Well, yeah, no, because like supporting Discotech, like there's I saw some tweets from Shaves and his boss, because they also have a label called like Whole Grains Productions, which is basically they released a fucking 2007 indie film that only saw like a limited theater release.
I saw that. Like, that was fucking sick.
Right? Like nobody had seen this movie in like 15 years, but they were able to release it because this company is being supported. Like I don't have a Blu-ray. I have a PS4, and I just don't have the money right now to throw around on Blu-rays. But like as far as like supporting a good product, like I have thought, just like buying anime that I like from these guys, that from this company specifically, just because it's like there is legitimate value in that. So yeah, it's that's good. Like even if again it's not necessarily going to, but it's still helpful in regards to more so than fucking giving Crunchyroll more money for putting out a subpar service. And I mean, not that Funimation's, I've only heard negative things. Their online streaming stuff, like it was apparently really rough to actually use. But Crunchyroll absorbing it and then doubling their prices is not good. So yeah.
Yeah, when it comes to like buying like Blu-rays and stuff, I really just want to like buy like favorites, like something that's like actively one of my favorite series, or something that's like notable enough, like extremely notable enough, even in spite of not literally being one of my favorites. Like I've thought of like owning all of Naruto on Blu-ray, even though like I don't see a world where that ever joins my favorite anime, but it's obviously like my favorite series, so.
And no, I think I forget the release, but I'm pretty sure I've seen Shapes tweeting about a something that was only like that hadn't even gotten fan subs before. So that there's still there's stuff like that that's worth keeping a tabs on.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's cool. Anything else you guys want to talk about, or do you guys want to wrap it up?
We can wrap it up, unless Vindy is dying to talk about something. You just can't hold it back any longer.
Y'all see Drake's dick?
All right. Well, I mean, is there anything else you guys? Because obviously we're gonna probably play Left 4 Dead next time, and by the way, I'm probably gonna play a little bit on my own because so I don't so I'm not completely fucking useless like I was last time. But is there anything else you guys are thinking about checking out in the next couple weeks that you might talk about in the future, or not?
So after
Persona 3.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I knew that, but I shouldn't have asked. Never mind. No, go ahead, man.
After I finish Food Wars, I'm gonna start watching Ojamajo Doremi every day.
Let's fucking go! That's cool, actually. I really hope you finish. It would be really funny if you finished it before me, because I've been watching alongside Matt for years now.
Well, actually, I'm only gonna watch the first series for now, and then in the distant future, I'll watch the other ones. Like, there's just too much of that for me to like feel like I'm just gonna keep that up.
Okay, it's really good though. But That's nice, because I don't know. I'd like to hear what you think because it has been a while since I've seen it. So the first series. As for me, I'm gonna probably finish Majin Tensei sometime. I could talk about it now. I still about that, and I just haven't gotten around to talk. I always forget that I've been playing Wild World because it's only like a little bit a day every force. So I think I missed one day. And I could also talk about did I ever talk about solo leveling?
You talked about it last week.
Yeah.
Okay, I did talk about it. Never mind.
It was while we were playing Left 4 Dead, so there was a lot going on, but
yes.
I do remember you talking about
Gotcha. Because I remember talking about Daredevil, which I don't have that much to add. I guess to Daredevil, but okay, I forgot that I talked about solo leveling. So I do remember. Yeah. So okay. Yeah. I don't know what else I'll go. Have I talked about the X-Men movies much? Because I'm gonna watch another one this weekend probably, but so maybe I'll bring those up again.
I feel like you mentioned it in passing, but I don't remember you like talking.
Yeah, I don't remember
about
a
it.
long conversation, but
okay, I could do that. Maybe not next time because I guess.
I feel like there's like better break points, like maybe like after X3, and then like after like.
Well, because I've already watched it's X-Men Last Stand, so I've watched the third one.
Oh, okay.
But at that point, it's like after that, I've only seen Logan and the Deadpool. So, so that's like I have the like 10 movies that I've seen already. So, like I never saw Days of Future Past or First Class, even though those were pretty well liked. Yeah. So I'll because the next is
X-Men Origins Wolverine, right? Isn't that?
That's my next one. Yes. Which isn't well liked to my knowledge. So, oh well. But anyway, so okay, that's another thing. All right. Thank you guys for listening, and we will see you next time.
Adios, gamers.
XD roll.